I'm your man, Louie Tee, and this is Louie Tee Live. Louie Tee, welcome. You are here on Louie Tee Live with, of course, yours truly, Louie Tee. Thank you for joining me on the program tonight. We're talking NFC West football, and I don't know if there's anybody that does it better in the NFC than the NFC West. You got two of the best teams in the conference sitting atop that division. You got one of the most scariest defenses in the league in that division in the Los Angeles Rams, and Chip Kelly's always fun, the chipster. So this is going to be a fun episode talking about the NFC West. Of course, before we get into the proceedings this evening, want to tell you all the ways that you can contact the show. If you are viewing this on YouTube, as always, the discussion is right on the side of the video. Feel free to converse amongst the crowd. If you want your comment read on air, use the hashtag LouieTeeLive. That also goes for Twitter. @InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle, as you can see below. Make sure that you follow me on Twitter and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. And if you're on Twitter, make sure you use the hashtag LouieTeeLive if you want your comment read there as well. And if you're on Facebook, again, same rules apply. Like the channel, like the Facebook page, and use the hashtag LouieTeeLive if you want to address me from there as well. And tonight, make sure if you're going to try to chime in on the What's Really Good segment that you make sure the volume on your phone is up as loud as it can get so that those who are watching can hear you. The audio sometimes is a little shoddy because people have me on speakerphone, or they're talking far away from the phone, or they have the volume down. Make sure you turn that up tonight so we can hear you. We want to hear what you got to say. That's why this platform is set up the way that it is, so that we can hear you and you can voice your opinion here on Louie Tee Live. So we're going to talk NFC West football. And as always, you know I'm a guy of reference. I need to know, how did we get here? And so I love to take a look back at last season, talk about the events leading up to now, and that will kind of get us up to speed on where we are in the NFC West as we sit here August the 18th. So without any further ado, I want to jump into Division Rewind of the NFC West.
Now we're Division Rewind. Now we're
NFC West.
Arizona Cardinals.
The Arizona Cardinals were a team on a mission in 2015 after a Carson Palmer injury derailed their Super Bowl aspirations the year before. The Cards burst through the gates 3-0, outscoring opponents a whopping 126-49 in that stretch. Despite the hot start, though, the Cardinals would endure the roughest stretch of their season in the following 3 games, dropping 2 of the next 3 contests to bring the Cards to 4-2 after 6 weeks of football. The 2 losses served as a wake-up call for the Cardinals as they caught fire, winning 9 straight games, including wins over some of the NFL's best in the Seahawks, Vikings, Bengals, and Packers. Week 15 at the Eagles was a costly win, however, as they lost Tyrann Mathieu for the season, and Carson Palmer injured his hand, an injury that lingered for the remainder of the NFC West champions' 13-3 campaign. A shaky playoff OT win versus Green Bay was a sign of the onslaught that lied ahead in Carolina. But once again, Arizona enters the 2016 season as one of the most dangerous teams in the NFC West and a National Football League Super Bowl contender.
Seattle Seahawks.
It was a rough start to the 2015 season for the Seattle Seahawks. coming off a devastating Super Bowl loss that sent them reeling into the offseason, which featured a Cam Chancellor holdout that would linger into the 0-2 start to the season. A Week 4 controversial win versus Detroit got the Hawks back to 2-2. However, 2 blown leads later, and the Seahawks were 2 games under 500, yet again at 2-4. Winning the next 3 out of 4 versus bad teams convinced no one that the Hawks were back. But then Russell Wilson transformed into dangerous Russell Wilson, slaying the next 5 out of 6 opponents, most with ease, as the Seahawks locked down their 4th straight playoff berth at 10-6. Their run would end in the divisional round at Carolina, but the sense is that this team has a newfound offensive identity and a defense that continues to be relentless, which will make for a reinvigorated Seattle Seahawks team in 2016.
Los Angeles Rams.
The 2015 season started with a bang. Rams. 2 wins over each of the division's best teams got them off to a 2-2 start. Then winning 2 out of the next 3 had the Rams at 4-3 and had Rams fans with ideas of grandeur. A possible new franchise QB in Nicholas Foles, a winning record, and maybe even some bonus football. 5 straight losses, however, promptly put a halt to any playoff talk or winning record. Nicholas Foles was eventually benched, and the Rams finished 7-9, packed their things up, and headed to LA. 2015 wasn't all bad, as the defense solidified itself as one of the league's best. Todd Gurley looks the part of the next big thing at running back, and now the Rams finally have a place to call home with a franchise QB to match. Maybe it all comes together in 2016. Maybe.
San Francisco 49ers.
The 2015 San Francisco 49ers Week 1 win over Minnesota was full of false optimism, as the Niners would go on to lose 6 out of the next 8 heading into the bye week at 3-8. The Niners would come out of the bye and drop the final 5 out of 7 games to finish the season at 5-11 and also finish one-and-done head coach Jim Tomsula. New head coach Chip Kelly comes in and tries to repair a broken offense. Will that include Colin Kaepernick or not is anyone's guess. But the Niners should be more competitive in 2016 than they were in 2015, which should have Niners fans somewhat excited, I guess. So that's the NFC West in 2015 in a nutshell. Very compelling division. Arizona Cardinals took a huge step forward last year, weren't able to get over the hump. Some injuries, key injuries down the stretch, really hampered them and their chances of getting to Super Bowl 50. Meanwhile, the Seattle Seahawks, slow start to the season. No Cam Chancellor, kind of that hangover from losing the Super Bowl, kind of lulled into the season, started 0-2, got back on track, lost some key players and some issues in that secondary with communication. Cam Chancellor comes back, but everything wasn't all right. Blow a couple of leads. Then they finally hit their stride. Marshawn Lynch in and out of the lineup, yo-yoing back and forth. And so the inconsistencies offensively and defensively hampered them, but they were able to get it together. And I think they figured out what this football team is offensively now and how they're going to go moving forward. And so I'm really anxious to see how Seattle looks offensively this year, because I think they're ready to turn Russell Wilson loose after last season's different things that transpired to see them have to use Russell Wilson and his right arm. And I think he was damn good down the stretch, putting up some major stats and points. And so this is a really intriguing division to say the least. So, of course, now what I want to do is I want to jump into my analysis of this division and give you my thoughts on how I think the 2016 season is going to shake out in the NFC West, and give you my predictions for the records for these teams and how they'll get there. And then, of course, I'm going to open the floor to you all, and you'll be able to voice your opinion and tell me what's really good in the NFC West. But I'm going to start at the bottom of this division. Last year, the San Francisco 49ers was a train wreck. First year without Jim Harbaugh, and you could tell that this was just a ship that was sinking fast. 5-11, 1-5 in the division. They got their first and only win in the division in Week 17 versus the St. Louis Rams, who are now the Los Angeles Rams. And they fired Jim Tomsula not too long after that win. And they went and hired the Chipster, our favorite coach, everybody's favorite coach. Who doesn't love Chip Kelly, man? And so Chip's going to come in, and he's inherited a dysfunctional situation. Maybe it's getting better. Who knows? I don't love that roster at all. If you ask me, I look at the 49ers roster and I say it's one of the 5 worst rosters in the National Football League in terms of a talent standpoint. They don't have a lot of guys that stand out on either side of the football. Carlos Hyde is the guy that I'm intrigued by, but he's always injured. If he can stay healthy, I really like Carlos Hyde. I think he can be a difference maker for that offense, but they lack at the receiver position. They lack at the tight end position. This is a team that I just look at. The offensive line was horrible last year. Getting Anthony Davis back may help them along that offensive line. We'll see. But this is a team that I just thought struggled last year, and I didn't think they did a lot in this offseason to shore many things up that they struggled with last year. And so I looked at their draft. It was a meh draft. I mean, I was not impressed with their draft, and they had a boatload of picks, and I just felt like, of course, the stuff that they did at the top of the draft, getting Joshua Garnett in the back half of the first round and getting the big stud out of Oregon in the first half of the draft in the first round was phenomenal. And I think their defensive line has a chance to really be the linchpin of that defense and furthermore, that whole entire team, because I think that defensive line may be where the most talent is on this football team. Of course, Navarro Bowman being the leader of that defense, and I think that football team as a whole. I look at this 49ers team. I don't have confidence in Blaine Gabbert. It looks like he's going to end up being the starter. I don't know what's going on with Colin Kaepernick. And frankly, at this point, I don't even know if I care anymore, because I don't know if I was one of those people that was a firm believer that Chip Kelly and Colin Kaepernick were made for one another. And if they ever got a chance to link up, the rest of the league was going to have hell to pay because of it, because of their styles and how Colin Kaepernick is that dual threat quarterback that you're looking for. But Chip Kelly showed me in Philadelphia that he's 2 things. One, he's a guy that does love to run the football. You look at Chip Kelly and you just assume he's a pass-happy, pass-first head coach. No, he loves to run the football. That being said, he also values quarterbacks that gets rid of the football fast. Okay, very quickly, needs a quick release, quick processor. You can't be one of these guys that's loading up to throw the ball 5 yards. If it's 5-yard pass, you got to get it out of there quick. That's something Colin Kaepernick struggles with, is a quick release. He's got a wind up. I don't know if these two are really made for each other. And so I think Blaine Gabbert is going to get every opportunity to be the guy. And I'm not sold on Blaine Gabbert. I'm just not. And so even though I think a lot of the 49ers players are rallying behind Blaine Gabbert, that's not me. Don't sign me up for that, because I don't believe in Blaine Gabbert. And because of that, and because of the lack of the talent on this football team, I hate to do this, because I know they're going to win more games than this, but I'm too practical. My problem is I look at the schedule and I say, can you beat this team? Sure you can. Will you beat this team? No. Okay? And of course, throughout the season, they're going to get a couple of teams. They're going to sneak probably 2 teams in the division that I'm not giving them credit for right now. They're probably going to sneak a couple of teams, one in the AFC, one in the NFC, and they'll probably end up winning 5 or 6 games this season. But I got them at 2-14, man. They're one of the worst teams in the league. I look at their roster. I'm not impressed. I don't know how they win football games. I'm going to find out, just like we're going to find out together, how they're going to win football games. Got them 1-5 in the division, much like they were last year. Good luck to the 49ers. You're going to need it in 2016. Let's go on to the Los Angeles Rams. 7-9 last year, 4-2 in the division. And that 4-2 mark in arguably what is the toughest division in all of football, lets you know just how dangerous this team can be on any given Sunday. That being said, there's still some inconsistencies with this team that they just can't help, okay? Jeff Fisher is there. A lot of people, including myself, thought that maybe last year should have been it for good old Jeff. Jeff hung on, and again, I get it. You're changing locations. You're moving and uprooting your franchise from St. Louis to Los Angeles. You want to minimize as much of change as possible. I get it. I understand that you're already moving, you're already changing locations, and everything is changing around you. You don't want to change what's going on inside the building. I get it. So you keep Jeff Fisher on board. Understood. But I look at the quarterback situation, and even though you went out and you drafted a guy, I don't think he's ready, and I don't think you think he's ready. And so I've been hearing rumblings and grumblings that they're going to start Case Keenum at the beginning of the season. I'm fine with that, okay? At some point, we know Case is going to have to sit down, and in comes Jared Goff at some point in 2016. Don't know when that's going to be, but the fact that we're having a Case Keenum discussion tells you we still got a problem at quarterback, and that's the most important position in the National Football League. That being said, as ferocious as this defense is, and as good as they are, and as good as they can be on any given day, this team still lacks the offensive firepower, whether it's at receiver. They still don't have a number one wide receiver. I like what they're doing at tight end, believe it or not. I think they're going to have some hidden gems there at tight end in Hemingway if they can develop him fast enough. And, of course, Tyler Higbee. So I think they got some stuff at tight end. Still got Lance Kendricks. I like what they're doing there. We already know about Todd Gurley. He's an all true man, yeah, baby. But that being said, you still need a quarterback. And if you don't have a quarterback, as good as that run game is, as good as that offensive line projects to be, and as good as this defense is, you still can't win over 8 games without a quarterback, a legit quarterback. They're 7-9 yet again. They missed 500 yet again, and they're 3-3 in the division this year as opposed to 4-2 from last season. So Los Angeles Rams, they changed locations, still find a way to miss 500 on the season. You go to the Seattle Seahawks, a team that last year struggled early on but found their footing towards the end of the season. And I was convinced. I was one of those, you go back into the archives and you go watch some videos, you'll see that I was convinced that they were the most dangerous team heading into the playoffs in the NFC outside of Carolina, that being, of course. I didn't want any part of Seattle as a Redskins fan, and I was glad that we didn't get their number and we didn't have to see them. They almost bowed out in the first round of the playoffs against the Minnesota Vikings, and had Blair Walsh been able to connect on a chip shot field goal, the most dangerous team, as I dubbed them, would have been gone in the first round. But it went 10-6 last year, 3-3 in the division. And this is a team this year that I feel like they figured some things out. Last year was a necessary evil in Seattle. I think it was a learning experience for a lot of the people involved with the franchise. Coaching staff, players, all alike. I think last year was an opportunity for everyone to kind of figure out what their role was on the football team. And I think the biggest thing they figured out last year is that, okay, we love the fact that we've had beast mode Marshawn Lynch for all these years, really being a catalyst for our offense. But we got number 3 back there. And Russell Wilson is a damn good quarterback. And when we allow him to do what it is that he does best, and that's fling the football around the field judiciously and spread it around to his teammates. We always talk about how they don't have an alpha male at receiver. I don't know if that's true anymore, because we sleep on Doug Baldwin a lot, but I'm telling you right now, Tyler Lockett looks legit, folks. So you look at all of that stuff that they got at receiver, you add Jimmy Graham, who's coming back to the mix, and all of a sudden now, Russell Wilson is a dangerous man. And we saw a glimpse of what he can be when they take the shackles off and they say, hey, 3, go get him, man. And so we saw the 30-point performances. We saw the 4 touchdown pass games. We saw all of them in succession. We saw the explosiveness of this offense. We saw the defense get back to what they do best, and that's get after teams. This is a team that I think the one thing that I need from them now is that invincibility at home again. It started 2 years ago when they let Dallas come in there and beat them in the regular season. And then Green Bay had them on the ropes, should have beat them in the playoffs. And all of a sudden now, it's just cool to go to Seattle and beat them. The Lions had them on the ropes last year. Carolina went in there and won. Arizona went in there and won. No one's afraid to go into Seattle anymore. They need that aura of invincibility at home once again. They need to turn CenturyLink back into one of the most feared places in the league. If they can do that and go 7-1, 8-0 at home again, this is a scary team because I think they figured it out defensively. They're back to what they do best there. And I think offensively is where they really figured some things out last year. And I think they're ready to turn the reins of that offense over totally, full control to Russell Wilson. And because of that, I think the Seattle Seahawks are back like cooked crack in 2016. 12-4 for the Seattle Seahawks, 4-2 in the NFC West. You go to the team that won this division a season ago in the Arizona Cardinals. Huge season for Bruce Arians and company. 13-3 on the season. 4-2. NFC West champs a season ago. Conquered one of their biggest enemies and conquered and got over one of their biggest fears, which was winning in Seattle last year. I thought that was a huge win for them. Really, I thought catapulted their season to that 13-3 mark that they ultimately ended up with on the season. This is a team I look at. They're basically intact. They got a very talented football team. You look around and there's not many areas where they lack. I thought the biggest area of concern, they addressed that with trading for Chandler Jones. If they can find a way to get pressure with just 4 guys up front, and I think Golden is coming off the edge. I think he's going to get better, and he's going to be a guy that they might be able to rely on for 6 to 8, maybe even 9.5 sacks or so. I'm not ready to put him as a double-digit sack getter quite yet, but I think he's a guy that's going to become more dangerous along that defensive line. And now, with the addition of Chandler Jones, I think they feel like they don't always have to blitz to get pressure. And for a defense that is really solid in that secondary when healthy, if they don't have to blitz as often to apply pressure on the quarterback, it's going to make them that much more dangerous. And so I look at this Arizona Cardinals team. Offensively, if Carson Palmer is well and that offensive line is good enough up front, they're as dangerous and scary a team offensively as there is in the league. Larry Fitzgerald still going strong. They've got weapons all around there. Michael Floyd. You got Sheriff John Brown, Jaron Brown. You name it, they got it. They got speed everywhere. Speed! Out of every nook and cranny. David Johnson emerged as one of the best young backs in the league last year. A dual threat, can catch it out of the backfield, can also run. Gave him a spark on special teams as well. I just love what this team has to offer just about everywhere. And so looking at this football team and the improvements that they made in the offseason, wasn't necessarily in love with their draft per se, but we'll see if the young fella Brandon Williams can come in and catch up to speed at the cornerback position and what they'll get out of him, because I'm not a Justin Bethel fan of him starting across from Pat P, and I think that's one of those areas they have to clean up. So we'll see how fast Brandon Williams can get up to speed, because usually young corners get baptized, and I call it baptism by fire. You put the young fellas out there, and a couple of receivers are going to stick their heads under the water, and they're going to keep it down there for a little while and then let them up for some air. They're going to christen these boys, and Brandon Williams may be one of those dudes that's going to have to learn the hard way in the NFC West what it's all about at the cornerback position. But that being said, man, this Arizona Cardinals team is legit. They have a distinct home field advantage. They win games at home. It's a dangerous place to go, hard to go into the desert and win. 12-4 for this Cardinals team, tied for first with Seattle, 4-2 in the division. The Arizona Cardinals win this division via tiebreaker. The 4 losses that each of them have, they both have, once you go to the tiebreakers in the division record, the next tiebreaker is from common opponents, and they have wins against all the same opponents, with the exception being Seattle's going to lose to New England. Arizona, via the Tom Brady suspension in week 1, they're going to get that W, and that's going to be the difference maker between the Cardinals winning the NFC West in 2016. So you've heard my take on this division, how I feel the NFC West is going to turn out. Now, I need you to tell me what's really good in the NFC West division in 2016.
Let me ask you a question.
What's really good?
Only thing we really want to know right now is what's really good. What's really good, huh? But the question for y'all, what's really good?
I have no further questions.
So I want to know what's really good. Phone number and phone lines are open. Phone number is 757-504-7243. Again, if you're going to call in, make sure the volume is up on your device so that we can hear you loud and clear. I'd much rather you be too loud than too low, because once your volume is low, it's hard for us to hear on the playback. I can hear you fine, but those at home who are watching this on playback cannot. So make sure your device is up if you're going to call in to the show. I'm going to start reading off some of your messages here in a second on Twitter and on the discussion board on YouTube. So there's our first call of the day. I'm going to go ahead and take it. You're on live with Louie Tee Live. Who am I speaking with?
This is Brian.
What's going on, B.E.?
Nothing much.
Your Arizona Cardinals, man. How you feel about them this year?
Really good. This is how I see the division wrapping up. Starting from the bottom, the Rams, their line last year got better. How's their line going to be this year? Gurley's going to be great. Mm-hmm. Even with a shitty offensive line, he went off. Even missing 3 games. Question marks in their secondary, but that defensive line is going to hold up. I see for Jeff Fisher to keep the job, they have to go 8-8. I don't see that happening. Mm-hmm. I see the Rams going 6-10, maybe 7-9, and Jeff Fisher being fired.
Okay.
The 49ers, they have Gabbard at quarterback. That's just a joke.
Yeah.
How's Chip Kelly going to work? Because when he was with the Eagles, every year he got rid of their best player, and they were just getting worse and worse in that with their win-loss record. Mm. And the defense is going to be a question mark. They have a good defensive line with DeForest Buckner, right. Eric Reed. Mm-hmm. So they're getting better on defense.
Yep.
Can they piece it all together?
Yep.
Seattle, the only question mark I have with Seattle is their offensive line. Mm. Probably maybe the worst in the division. Their secondary is maybe tied with Arizona for the best, and they have Russell Wilson. So as long as he stays healthy, they're always going to have a chance to win every game at home. Mm. The Cardinals, even now, the Cardinals and I have question marks with them. 3 new starting offensive line at center, right guard, and right tackle. David Johnson is going to do better now, starting a full 16-game stretch with the best offensive line in the NFC West. How is Chandler Jones going to fit in with our offense? Is he going to be able to, now that they're going to double coverage him, are they going to double coverage Calais, Marcus Golden? Mm-hmm. That's going to help our whole defensive line. Right. Can Tyrann Mathieu come back and stay healthy?
Right. That's big. That is the big one, because when he's healthy, that defense is a different animal. We saw it at the end of last year. When he got hurt in that Eagles game, it's almost like it sucked the life out of that defense.
Exactly, and it's just like he could do everything. He could cover, blitz. He could do everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And like you're saying, can Brandon Williams be that number 2 corner?
Yep.
He did good against Amari Cooper, but then he also got beat on some plays. So
right. And that's going to happen. You know, he's a rookie. I thought he looked pretty good, considering that was his first NFL game. I'm gonna be watching him close this preseason and see how he handles, because teams are gonna come after him. You know, teams are gonna come after him.
Yeah, and because whoever is playing offense Patrick Peterson, they're going to test that person.
Right. Absolutely. Exactly.
And Robert Konjichi, he's also going to help our defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Getting him late in the draft was a really good fit.
Yes, it was. I'm excited about that front now.
All in all, I see the Rams going 6-10, maybe 7-9. Jeff Fisher being fired. I see the 49ers going 5-11.
Okay.
I see the Seattle going either 11-5 or 12-4, depending on how well that offensive line holds up, and is Rawls going to be their starting running back? Like, there's some reports saying that he's not guaranteed that job. He has to earn it. Mm-hmm. And with Arizona, I see it's going either 13-3 or 14-2.
Ooh.
I don't like looking at our schedule. I don't see it being hard.
Yeah.
Patriots win, Buccaneers win, Bills win. Home versus the Rams, I see us beating the Rams at home.
Right.
I see us beating the 49ers. I see us beating the Jets, but being pretty close. Versus Seattle in Arizona, I see us winning that.
Yep.
I see us losing in Seattle, though.
Yeah.
The Panthers is a question mark.
I'm gonna tell you your 4 losses I got you down for. I got you down for at Carolina, at Minnesota, at Los Angeles, and at Seattle. Those are your 4 losses I got you down for.
Yeah, same with me.
Yep. And you might beat Minnesota in Minnesota. That one was that's a flip of the coin right there. It just depends on how good they're playing at the time when you run into them. How good are y'all playing? But I could easily see 13-3, 14-2. That's I like it. That's greedy, but I like it. BE, I like it.
Yeah. You see week 13?
Yeah, I see it.
Where's your Redskins?
Yeah, I have no confidence that if that was in Washington, I would have gave us a shot. I don't see us going into the desert and coming out alive with a W.
Well, you're probably coming out alive, but with a loss.
Yeah, oh yeah. See, the last part was the key there. I said alive and with a W. We gonna come out alive, just not with a W. That I don't have any confidence there, but I really like that Arizona Cardinals football team, especially when they're at home. I can see y'all going 12-4, 13-3, 14-2. Boy, you go 14-2, man. Look out for the Arizona Cardinals in the NFC.
We would have gone 14-2 if we would have won that Steelers game. That was the coaches, or not the coaches. The rest was so many long calls. Yeah,
I mean, we could say a bunch of things that could have happened, should have happened. If Tyrann Mathieu doesn't get injured at the end of the season, you might even beat Seattle in the last game, even though you don't need it. Who knows? You know what I mean? Who's to say? Let me ask you this before we move on. I want you to rank the defenses in this division before you go.
First to last?
Huh?
First to last?
Yep.
I have to give my Cardinals the first, just because of how well we played last year. Seattle second.
Okay.
I'll have to give the Rams third, just because of that defensive line. Mm-hmm. And the 49ers fourth.
Boy, it's so tough to figure out these defenses. They're so good. All of them are so good.
Yeah,
I mean,
they all have strength. Like, the Rams have the best defensive line. The Cardinals and Seattle are tossed up between the best secondaries. Like, that's just going to be a debate. There's no cut key answer in the Rams, or not the Rams. 49ers have talent. They have to piece it together.
Yeah, that's defensively, definitely. I don't love anything on their offense, but defensively, they got some stuff over there. So.
Except Carlos Hyde.
Carlos Hyde, I did mention him earlier. That's the only thing I like on the offense.
And the 49ers signed Christian Ponder today.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, they one of their quarterbacks is done for the year.
Yeah, Thad Lewis.
Yeah, so they had to go out and get another camp arm. That's all he is. Nothing more, nothing less. Hey, man, BE, I appreciate you calling in and giving me your input, man. Really great call. And I'm looking forward to seeing what your Cardinals do in 2016, man. Have a good one. Take care.
You too.
All right. So we heard from our first Cardinals fan. Thinks the Cards are going to win the division at 13-3, possibly 14-2. Those are huge numbers, but Cardinals showed you last year that they are capable. And with the schedule that they have, it's not out of the realm of possibility. The AFC East, it gets weaker, it seems like, and weaker each and every day. Now hearing about the Marcel Darius suspension for 4 games. Bills are already going through it with all their first 2 picks in the draft being injured already, and now losing Darius for the first 4 games, not helping their cause at all. So that's a doable schedule there, if I may say so myself, which is why I got both of those teams at the top of that division going 12-4. And he talked about the Seahawks offensive line, and they got Jari Evans, and he's a guy that's going to help shore up things along that offensive line. I think the offensive line is going to be okay. I trust in the cable guy to fix things. Got a call. Go ahead and take it. You're on live with Louie Tee Live. Who am I speaking with?
It's your fellow Redskins brother, Malik.
What's going on, Malik?
Ain't nothing much.
Good to hear from you, man.
Good to hear from you, too.
Talk to me about this NFC West division, man. Who's going to win this division and with what record?
I think it's going to be the Cardinals with ease.
And what do you think their record is going to be?
I'm going to go with 13-3.
13-3 for the Cards. Who's coming in second in this division?
But I think the Rams are going to be close.
Okay, so you're going with the Seahawks. What's their record going to be?
I'm gonna go with 10-6.
10-6 for the Hawks. And you said the Rams are going to be close in third. What's the Rams record going to be in 2016?
I think it might be a shocker, but I think they go 8-8.
Okay, 8-8. Is that good enough for Jeff Fisher to keep his job? Yes or no?
I say no, because the amount they gave up for Goff, I don't think Goff is gonna. I think Gurley's just gonna carry the offense.
Yeah, I don't think Jared Goff's going to be ready, and we know Todd Gurley. We saw him last year carry this offense. The 7 wins that they got, a lot of those came on the legs of Todd Gurley. Yeah. And what are the 49ers going to be in 2016?
I'm gonna go with 5-11.
5-11, and they're probably going to be much closer to the 5-11 that you just predicted, as well as my man BE, the previous caller, did, than the 2-14 that I predicted them at. It's hard to go 2-14 in this league. You got to be abysmal. They're not that bad. I'm too practical, which is my problem. I can't look at the schedule and say you're going to win a game. I'm looking at the two teams, and it's just hard for me to give them wins. But I think you're right. They're going to be closer to 5-11 than they are 2-14. I need you to rank these divisions before you run. Rank these defenses in this division. Excuse me, before you run.
I'm gonna go like Cardinals number 1, because Seattle, they still haven't gotten a good number 2 corner. Mm-hmm. I think Brown's gonna hurt them more than they kill.
Yeah.
And then, the Cardinals, they got the best defense because they got like a lot of offset safety with Tyrann. Mm-hmm. They got forgot the dude off the top of my tongue. They got a good free safety. They got Patrick Peterson. Mm-hmm. They got that new rookie. You're gonna be new, but I think you could be like Quentin Dunbar, like you gotta learn the ropes, and then you gotta surprise them.
Brandon Williams. Okay, so who's second?
I'm gonna go with Seattle for second.
Okay, and I'm assuming the Rams are third. Yeah,
Rams are probably third, and Seattle, or not Seattle, the 49ers, third and fourth, but I really like their D-line.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to – I'm anxious to see. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but on paper it looks damn good. I tell you that much. The two big trees from Oregon, Eric Armstead and DeForest Buckner and Defoe next to one another, I'm hoping that turns out to be a big strength for them moving forward, because they're going to need their defense to step up if they're going to have any chance to win games in 2016 and moving forward. Hey, man, Malik, thanks for the call, bruh. Take it easy. Look forward to talking to you when we start talking Redskins football later on down the line.
All right.
Take it easy. All right. So let's get to some social media. I've been running my mouth enough. Let's see what you guys have to say out there. At Kookie Kim 1357 says, I think the Cardinals win the division at 13-3, followed by the Seahawks at 11-5, then the Rams at 7-9. And the Niners in last place at 4-12. So he's pretty much on line with what everyone else has been saying. And his records aren't that far off from what everybody else has been saying either. I think this division, I feel like a lot of people feel like they have a handle on this division because the Rams aren't ready yet at the quarterback position. And we know the top of this division is the creme de la creme. And it's just a matter of, are the Seahawks going to overtake the Cardinals and get what they feel like is probably rightfully theirs in this division crown, or are they going to stay in second place? Either way, I think a lot of people, most people out there will agree that both of those teams are probably going to make it to the postseason in 2016. All right, let's see. Let's go to the discussion board and see what guys are saying here. I love the fact that you guys are always having your own sidebar conversations amongst each other, man. Before I could even get to it, I'm going to try to set it up so that I can come back to it, because I see some hashtags there, so I know some people want their comments read. But I got a call, and I'm going to take it. You're on live with Louie Tee Live. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, Graham.
Who am I speaking with?
Graham.
Ben, what's going on, Ben? Make sure you turn your volume up on your phone.
All right. Sorry. Hold on a second. All right.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
No problem.
All right. All right. Sorry.
It's all good, man. NFC West football we talking about. Who you got winning this division? How's this division going to shake out? Talk to me.
Cardinals.
Cardinals are going to win this division. With what record?
12-4.
12-4. Okay, so you like the Cardinals. You like them at 12-4. Who's coming in second?
Seahawks.
Seahawks with a record of what?
11-5.
11-5. So they're right behind the Arizona Cardinals.
Right behind the Cardinals. I mean, yeah.
And Rams coming in third, I'm assuming. Or do you have the 49ers?
7-9.
7-9 for the Rams. Okay, sounds about right. And what do you think the 49ers are going to look like in 2016?
No, I got them going 3-13.
Whew. Hey, I'm right there with you, man. I got them at 2-14, so I'm not even mad at you for that. All right. I can't see it, man. And again, I think they're going to win more than the 2 games I gave them credit for, but I just can't see it right now. Blaine
Gabbert at quarterback, it's just...
Look, man, you just said it. Blaine Gabbert at quarterback spells trouble. Period.
It's going to be rough.
Period. All right, rank the defenses in this division before you go.
All right, I got the Seahawks in first, but Arizona's a close second.
Okay.
And then Rams and the 49ers.
Okay. Sounds good to me, man. Appreciate the call. Take care of yourself, man. Look forward to hearing from you in the future. Have a good one.
Yep. Bye-bye.
All right. So now we're going to go to the discussion board. Remember, if you're out there listening and you're not watching, the phone number is 757-504-7243. Feel free to chime in on the NFC West. I'm going to go to the discussion boards, and I got some more heat on Twitter as well. I'll get to that in a second. Anwar Muhammad says the 49ers roster is below average. You're right. And I feel the exact same way, especially, and it's more so, let me clarify myself, because I don't want people out there, especially 49ers fans, to think that I just think their entire roster is straight garbage, because it's not. It's the offensive side of the football that is unimpressive to me. Okay, the offensive line, I think, is lacking in a number of different areas. We saw that last year, and I don't think they really did a lot to clean that up. They lost Alex Boone, and he may have been on the downside of his career anyway, but I don't know if they have anyone to actually fill his shoes on that offensive line either. The skill positions outside of Carlos Hyde, I'm not impressed with anybody that's on that football team. Torrey Smith, to me, is a number 2 receiver. You're paying him like a number 1. I don't see anybody around him that will make him any better. I just don't. I look at their roster and I don't see anybody on the offensive side of the football that scares me outside of Carlos Hyde. And he needs to stay healthy. Defensively, they have some stuff. And if they can get that stuff to mesh and gel together quickly, this could be a team that defensively will give their offense a chance to win some football games. And remember, they brought in the chipster to rectify the offensive side of football. And if the defense can keep teams down and give the offense a chance, the 49ers may be much better than we're giving them credit for. But right now, I just don't see it. And I agree with Anwar Muhammad that roster, little underwhelming to say the least. Let's go to the phone lines. Got a call. You're on live with Louie Tee Live. Who am I speaking with?
It's Anwar.
What's going on, Anwar?
What's up?
Hey, man. Good to hear from you. What you think about this NFC West?
Man, it's a tough division, man.
It is. I agree. I love this division because it's so competitive top to bottom. Even the 49ers, who we look at as a bad football team defensively, I still think they can hold their own in this division. So I look at this division and it's so top heavy, but the Rams, they're so good defensively. It's just a fun division to watch. Who you got winning this division, Anwar?
Cardinals.
Cardinals at what record?
3-13. 13-3.
13-3. Seattle Seahawks coming in second?
Yeah.
What's their record?
10-6.
10-6. So Cardinals win this division by quite wide margin there, 3 games. All right, Rams coming in third, I'm assuming, or do you have the 49ers?
Rams.
Rams. What's the record for the Rams in 2016?
They finally get to that 500 mark.
Finally get to 8-8. Is that good enough, Anwar, for Jeff Fisher to keep his job as Los Angeles Rams head coach?
Nah, man. Jeff Fisher's definition of mediocrity.
Yeah, I agree, man. I've been saying it for at least the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, it seems like no one has gotten more of a pass in this league than Jeff Fisher. Now, I will say I understand why he did not get the pink slip this offseason because of the move. They wanted to keep as much continuity as possible. I get it. I understand. But you could argue Jeff was supposed to have been gone before that. So 8-8 may be good enough. If they finish this season on, let's say, a 3-game winning streak and they finish at 8-8, that may be good enough to keep Jeff's job. If they start this season off 6-4 and they finish up 8-8, Jeff's probably canned. We'll see. Anwar, how did the 49ers finish this season before we get to your defensive predictions?
Yeah, 13.
So they're 3-13 on the season. Again, I cannot argue with that. I just don't know where the wins are going to come from. All right, Anwar, I need you to rank the defenses in this tough and rugged NFC West division.
Cardinals.
Cardinals 1.
Seahawks.
Seahawks 2.
Rams.
Rams 3.
Yeah, 49ers.
49ers and last. I got you, Anwar, man. I think this is going to be a really intriguing division, and I think you feel the same way, man. I appreciate your call, man. Take care and continue to support and call in, man.
Yeah, take care.
Likewise. All right, we go back to social media. My man Nick Riley says 49ers won't get more than 5 wins, and I tend to agree there. I don't see them getting. I said 2-14. I said they're probably closer to 5-11 than 2-14, but I don't think they're getting to 5-11. I think if they get 4-12, that sounds about right. Hard to go 2-14 in this league. Let me reiterate that. You have to be among the worst of the worst, and your roster has to be terrible. You have to endure injuries, and you have to have bad luck. You can't force any turnovers. You got to turn the football over. A lot has to go wrong in this league because we know it's a very finite distance between winning and losing in this league. They talk about a game of inches, and it literally comes down to the way the ball bounces on most weeks. So hard for a team to go 2-14, especially when they're not terrible on both sides of the football. The 49ers at least can hang their hat on the defensive side of the football. We get to another comment by Nick Riley. He says, Blaine Gabbert, worst starting QB in the NFL. Remember, I just came out not too long ago with my list of the 32 starting quarterbacks in the league, and Blaine Gabbert was somewhere way down on that list, probably somewhere around 30 or 29, 28, somewhere in there. So I don't think he's the worst because the Rams starting quarterback, whomever he is, probably is going to take that mantle just because you either got a rookie or you have a guy in Case Keenum that I don't think is going to be able to take your team anywhere. But again, Blaine Gabbert not too far up that list. That is for certain. All right, you go to the next comment. Anwar Muhammad says the Rams need to get over 500. I agree, and I don't even know if I think 500 with an asterisk would be enough to keep Jeff Fisher's job. That asterisk would have to be a winning streak to finish up the season. If they start the season 5-8 and they find a way to win the final 3 games of their season, and one of those games is against Arizona, so if you beat Arizona and you finish up the season at 8-8, I think that's going to hold a little bit of weight with the organization. But I think Jeff Fisher's going to have to do a little bit better than 8-8 in order to keep his job. And I just don't know how you accomplish that without having a real starting quarterback at this time. Again, at some point in 2016, whether he starts day one or not, we're going to see Jared Goff as the starting quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams in 2016. I can assure you of that. I don't think Case Keenum is going to keep him away from that job. However, even with a young quarterback with some talent like Jared Goff, still going to be growing pains, still going to make some mistakes, still going to stop them from winning some games that they may have been able to win had they had a competent quarterback under center. So we'll see what happens with the Los Angeles Rams in 2016. Anwar Muhammad, and he said this on his call, Jeff Fisher is the definition of mediocrity. Really, I can't really disagree with that. I mean, he had some years that were elite in Tennessee, but for the most part, it was 7-9, it was 8-8, it was 6-10, it was 9-7 in Tennessee. It's been the same thing in St. Louis and now into Los Angeles, where he hasn't even gotten his Rams team at or above 500 in his time in St. Louis and now in Los Angeles. So mediocrity is Jeff Fisher's middle name right now, and he's going to have to find a way. And he would take a mediocre season. He would take an 8-8. And I know what he said on Hard Knocks. They don't want F 8-8. We don't want to be F and 8-8. I hear all of that. But without a quarterback, I don't know what else you expect your team to do. The defense is good enough to win you 10 games. I just don't see the defense and the running game being enough without the aid of a quarterback that can help them. I just don't know how that's going to get done. Got another call, going to take it. You're on live with Louie Tee Live. Who am I speaking with?
This is Rob.
What's going on, Rob?
Hi, I'm a big Seahawks fan, so I'll talk about them most.
Hey, love it.
The first thing I want to say was talk about Coach for a second. I think that Pete Carroll is probably the best halftime coach there is in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
There have been many times, even in the playoffs, there have been many times where Seahawks didn't score any points in the first half.
And you're alluding to that Panthers game.
Yeah. And Packers and even Atlanta Hawks when they beat your Washington Redskins.
Right. Yeah.
They fell behind 20-0
and almost stole that game. If not for some late game heroics by Matt Ryan, they win that game.
Correct. We got ahead 28-27 with less than a minute to go.
Yep.
So, and even the Minnesota game, they outscored us 6-0 in the first half. So,
Right.
Of course, that was -2 degrees too.
Yeah. Look, man, I kind of threw that game out the window, man. That's some tough conditions to play in. I mean, they're football players. They understand what they signed up for. But damn it, man, you start talking about negative degrees, it's really hard to ask guys to function in that kind of environment, man. It was tough.
And of course, Carolina come back, but didn't quite work out.
Right.
But I just think that definitely has to do with Coach Carroll.
Yeah.
And
love Pete.
And
let me ask you, since I got you here and you seem like a very knowledgeable Seahawks fan. Let me ask you this since you're here. Do you think that the way that last season ended, that they're ready to turn this offense fully over to Russell Wilson? That's the sense I got at the end of 2015, that they saw what he could do when they take the shackles off and they say, here, Russell, this is your offense. You go out and run the show.
I believe that they will actually go back to the running game if possible.
Okay.
Yes. I think they'll try to run it kind of, the way they did with Marshawn Lynch.
Right.
And, people like to say Seattle was winning because of Marshawn Lynch.
Right.
He was playing really good, but his averages was actually a lot better once Russell Wilson started joining the team. So, let's see. I was going to say something. I want to say something about Kaepernick for a second.
Okay.
One thing from watching Kaepernick the last couple of years that he was playing, when he tried to start playing in the pocket, there's two things I could say about him that are really good. He's got a really, really good gun for an arm.
Yep.
I mean, the fastball is beautiful.
Yep.
But he has zero touch. And when you watch him play, if he tried to do a touch pass, it was just awful. And a lot of times you just needed a touch pass, and he just couldn't do it.
Right.
And
you'll find that with a lot of guys with guns, like even with Cam Newton, a lot of times, especially underneath, he struggles with touch. His changeup is still 95 miles an hour. I mean, with the guys with guns like that throw 98, 99 straight gas, the changeup is like 95, 94. Like it's hard for them to take off enough underneath. So Cap's no different than that. Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
And another thing I noticed was when the rush would come on him in the pocket, he could never look downfield anymore. He's just absolutely looking at the rushes coming at him.
Right.
It was just like, the play was already practically dead to him. So that's one thing that you don't get with Russell Wilson. He's always looking once he starts scrambling.
Right. Yeah, he's looking to create even when he's getting out of the pocket. So who's going to win this division? You're a Seahawks fan. Do you think your Hawks come back and take this division in 2016, or will the Cardinals hold off your Seahawks?
Well, that is really a sad one for me, but I might have to go with Arizona at 12-4.
All right.
be off at 11-5. I will say it could go just as easily the other way.
Right. Absolutely.
I think Seattle has a great chance to beat Arizona twice next year.
They do. I mean, we saw them go into Arizona. Now, again, that's one of those grain of salt games because Arizona knew they didn't have anything to play for once Carolina started beating up on Tampa Bay. But they were already kind of getting their ass handed to them in that game before they found out that Tampa Bay was starting to allow that game to get out of control. So
Seattle was definitely going to win that game. It looked like, in that first half, they just looked dead really quick.
I think so too. I mean, even if they were really trying to win, I still think Seattle would have won that game. They were more focused and hungry in that game. So you got
Seattle is showing a good possibility of beating any team on the road now. So
yeah. And when you got the kind of defense that they have, that travels anywhere. It doesn't matter. So that's gonna give them a chance each and every single week, no matter where they are. We saw them go in some tough environments last year. They went into Cincinnati, should have won that game, blew that game at the end. Went into Arizona and won. They went into some tough environments last year, went into Minnesota and destroyed the Vikings, and then went back and went for seconds and got them again. So they went into some tough environments and won last year and could have won some games. So that defense travels. So you got Arizona winning at 12-4, Seattle at 11-5. What are the Los Angeles Rams going to do this season?
I will give them a chance for 9-7.
Wow. Okay. First person to and this is
actually go above the line.
Yes, first person to go above the Mendoza line at 9-7. That 9-7 record, is that enough for Jeff Fisher to keep his job?
It might not be. It depends. I mean, I think it's their defense and the running game is going to give them their only shot of doing that.
Right.
Seattle's been able to do that kind of. Although I really consider Russell Wilson as a rookie a whole lot better than I do Goff as a rookie.
Yeah, no, it's not even close. Russell Wilson, I think he went out and actually won the job in the preseason, his rookie season. Remember, they had went out and got Matt Flynn. And Russell Wilson was 10 times better than him that preseason. And it was no doubt about it who the guy needed to be leading that team into week one. And they figured it out quick. Kudos to Snyder and Pete Carroll and company for coming to that conclusion that quickly, because for some teams you go out and you spend money on a free agent, you want that guy to play, and they said to hell with the money we just gave Matt Flynn, this guy gives us the best chance to win, that being Russell Wilson. So you have the Rams going 9-7. What are the 49ers going to do in the division this year?
I will be nice to them and give them 4 wins.
Okay, hey, that's more than I gave them, so good for you. All right, now before I let you run, I need you to rank the defenses in this division.
Seattle, Arizona, Los Angeles, San Francisco.
Got you, man. Great call. I appreciate you chiming in on the NFC West, and I love your candor. As bad as you wanted to put your boys at the top of this division, your heart wouldn't let you do it, man. Or I should say your head. Your heart wanted to. Your head said, hey, man, I think the Arizona Cardinals are still going to win this division, man. Great call. Thanks for chiming in. Look forward to talking to you in the future, man. Have a good one.
Thank you very much, Louie Tee.
All right, man. Have a good one. Take care.
Bye.
That was a great call. A guy that's a Seahawks fan spitting some good truth there. Even though he loves his team and feels like they got a shot. And like he said, ball bounces one way or the other. They can end up with the 12-4 record, and Arizona could end up with the 11-5 record. For me, the difference between the teams, both going 12-4 in my book, one's getting the New England Patriots at home with no Brady. The other is getting the New England Patriots on the road at Foxborough with Tom Brady. That, to me, is the difference between these two teams and their records this season. Nick Riley says, I say the Rams start off 2-5 to start the season, and then from there decide to start Goff. A 2-5 start probably will get Jared Goff into the ball game. And again, we've seen the injury history of Case Keenum. I don't even know if he makes it through 7 weeks of football between concussions and various other injuries that he's had throughout his career that have hampered him. I just don't know if this guy's built to go 7 or 8 games to even give Jared Goff a chance to kind of take in the NFL experience and kind of learn while he's watching. I think he's going to end up hitting the field a lot sooner rather than later for the Los Angeles Rams in his rookie season. Let's keep on moving. Let's see if there's anything else here, because I do have some comments on Twitter that I would like to get to as well. So I got some more comments here. Let's check Twitter. If I got some more heat on Twitter, let me knock out some of these tweets, and then I'll get back to the discussion board on YouTube. At Muhammad_Splash says, I don't trust Carson Palmer in the playoffs. That is a very valid point. He was horrible last year in the playoffs. Now, I wanted to cut him a break because of the finger and the injury, but I'm not willing to cut a guy that has struggled mightily throughout his career in the postseason any breaks, okay? Now, again, the Cincinnati thing, not fair. Kimo von Oelhoffen falls on his knee while he's throwing a touchdown pass early in the ball game. That team, to me, was legit. They were stacked offensively. They were going to win that game versus the Steelers. And I want to say that's one of the years the Steelers actually won the Super Bowl. And if it is, in fact, that year, I want to say that was 2005 when they beat the Seahawks. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But if it is that year, who's to say that the Cincinnati Bengals, who were ready, locked, stocked, and loaded that year to do it, wouldn't have been able to take that same route that the Steelers would have taken to get there, or that they did take to get there. So either way, he's had some struggles throughout his career in the postseason. No postseason appearances in Oakland, of course, and then the unfortunate injury in 2014 to end his season when he was playing good enough to have them have a shot, and they would have had to play. And you know what? The circumstances would have changed in that season. They wouldn't have been at Carolina most likely. Had he stayed healthy, they might have had a shot to win that division. I believe they were right there with Seattle. His injury tipped the scales in the favor of the Seahawks. They had gone to win that division, and they ended up going to Carolina with Ryan Lindley. We all know how that story ended. So he hasn't had the best luck in the postseason. Some of it hasn't been his own doing, with injuries and that type of thing. But at the end of the day, last year was bad, okay? I didn't think he played well at all versus Green Bay. I thought they won that game in spite of him, as a matter of fact, against Green Bay in the divisional round. And he was horrible against Carolina. I don't know if anybody would have won that game the way the Panthers were playing at that time at home. I don't know if he could have done anything to change that ball game or not. But that being said, he didn't play well. So, yes, there are some questions about Carson Palmer and his postseason play. I'm still willing to cut him a little bit of slack because of the injury history there and some of the unfortunate situations that he's found himself in this year or past year with the finger. That being said, he does need to play better. All right. He does need to play better because he did not play well in the postseason in 2015. You go to the next comment on Twitter. At GrayZ227 says, with the new LA media, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Jeff Fisher. If they go 7-9 or 8-8, he's done. I think you're right. I think you're right, Graham. And I'm going to tell you this much. If Jeff Fisher, and like I said, and I'm still trying to rationalize how he's even the head coach now. And again, I know why he was left at the post this year. But you could have argued that after 3 years of mediocrity, the previous 3 years, and I want to say Jeff Fisher's been there since 2012, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 2011 at the earliest. But we go back to the Sam Bradford days. That didn't work, and now you've seen the Nicholas Foles of the world cycle through, the Case Keenums, you name it. They've done it at the quarterback position. Sean Hill. He hasn't. This defense is legit. We understand that, and he's a huge part of the reason why that defense is the way it is. Because I always say this about Jeff Fisher coached teams: they color outside the lines, man. While everybody else is having a nice, neat portrait and they're staying inside the lines, he coaches his players. Hey, man, y'all go ahead, color outside the lines a little bit, man. Make this thing a little messy, and they muck up some games and they hit guys. They hurt quarterbacks. They've got a reputation for that. See Teddy B last year. And look, this is what they do, okay? Ask Ben Roethlisberger last year. They hurt quarterbacks. They play a physical brand of football. And if you're not up for that challenge on that given day, your team will lose. They can run it. They're physical on both sides of the football, up front in the trenches. And the problem is the quarterback position. And he hasn't had any luck in St. Louis and now in Los Angeles. And I wouldn't be surprised, I wouldn't be shocked if they go 8-8 and it's a solid 8-8. And what I mean by that is you can't be 8-5 with 3 games left and finish 8-8. You're getting 5, okay? Because at that point, we know you're good enough to make the postseason, and you didn't. Now, if you're 5-8 and you finish up with 3 strong victories at the end of the season to get you to 8-8, it changes things. The dynamic of that 8-8 changes. So we'll see what happens. I think the ownership may be willing to give him an extra year if you start to see things develop with Jared Goff at the end of the season and they start winning some ball games. They may say, all right, I want to see one more year of Jeff with this quarterback, that defense, and that running game. Maybe he'll be able to put it all together and make it happen. If not, then he may be on his way out with an 8-8 record, 7-9. I think anything under the Mendoza line, and I think he might be done in Los Angeles. So I might have to agree with you there, Graham. And yes, that's a different media in Los Angeles, much more different than the one in St. Louis. You can't hide in Los Angeles. You can hide in St. Louis. You can go under the radar. You're not hiding in Los Angeles. That is for certain. So Steve Nasty 131 says, Bethel played with a fracture in his foot last season. Hopefully that's why his play was down. It may be because of injury. But see, this is my thing with Justin Bethel. Justin Bethel will be right there in the play because we know Justin Bethel is a tremendous athlete, one of the best special teamers in the entire National Football League. That's how he got an opportunity to play corner because he played so well on special teams. He'll be right there like we saw in the Green Bay game. Now, let's take the Green Bay because he got roasted in the Green Bay Packers playoff game, okay? Let's take that game, for instance. Justin Bethel was there. When I say there, the receiver is going up at the point of the catch. Justin Bethel is right there, and he doesn't look for the football. Now, I can't help you if you're there and you don't look for the football. You can't make a play if you don't know where the football is. And I talk about this all the time with rookies coming into the league. It's a tough transition. You got to find the football. Justin Bethel doesn't find the football well enough for me. And so that's the thing that I'm worried about. Not a fracture in his foot, not him getting smoked by guys. Because when he was getting baptized out there by Jeff Janis, he was there. I mean, he was right there step for step. And Jeff Janis is a fiend in terms of speed. Guy's a high 4.3, low 4.4 guy, okay? This guy can pick him up, put him down. So he was right there in his hip pocket. He just didn't find the football. And with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, you can be right there. Drew Brees, Tom Brady, you know, those quarterbacks, Ben Roethlisberger, you can be right there. Let them see your numbers and let them know that you don't find the football. They will throw the football to their receiver, throw him open because you can't find the football. That was my problem with Justin Bethel last season. Everyday Flash says, no one in the NFC West will go 4-0 against the AFC East. If anyone had a chance, it's Arizona since they won't see Tom Brady due to his 4-game suspension. Now, if I'm not mistaken, my man Flash told me last week when I broke down the AFC East on Thursday that no team in the AFC East was going to win 10 games. If that's a fact, that no team, and this is out of your mouth, not mine, no team in the AFC East is going to win 10 games, then why can't the NFC West powerhouses that be sweep that division? I think Arizona's going to sweep the AFC East. That's why they're going 12-4 is because they're going to sweep the AFC East because they get Brady at home, or they get the Patriots at home with no Brady, whereas the Seahawks have Brady, and not only do they have to take on Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, they have to do it at Foxborough, which makes that just much more tougher on them. So I think, and you know, of course, the other two teams in the division aren't going to sweep the AFC East. They're not good enough to do that. So yeah, I do have the Arizona Cardinals, however, sweeping your division. Let's keep going. See if I see anything else. And I got another one. Let's check Twitter to make sure we got nothing else going on there. Yep, got some more going on Twitter, so I'll get to that here in a second. But Steve Nasty 131 says, Bradley Soul is starting at left tackle for the Seahawks, LOL. And I think he knows him well because if I'm not mistaken, he's an ex-Arizona Cardinal. He didn't even play for the Cards when our line was absolutely terrible. So We'll find out because they're going to mix and match in Seattle. They're going to figure out which 5 guys give them the best chance to succeed in Seattle, and they're going to put those 5 guys on the field. That's the one thing I don't worry about in Seattle is, politics or anything like that. The best guys will play on both sides of the football. That goes for the offensive line. It's been a concern. It's been a cause of concern in Seattle for the last 2 years or so. But Russell Wilson, with his escapability, he's still going to make it work. And if they can run the football with any kind of success, in 2016, that's going to keep teams on their heels, not allow them to pin their ears back, come after Russell Wilson. And it's going to give him enough time to work down the field with options like Tyler Lockett and Doug Baldwin, the Angry Bird. I think they've got some really, really big targets down there that they can get the football to, Jermaine Kearse and, of course, Jimmy Graham as well. So there's some things that they're going to have to show up along that offensive line. Again, Jari Evans coming in is going to help solidify some things for them along that offensive line, especially in pass blocking. He's definitely going to be an upgrade over what they were putting on the field last year at guard. So I think that this is an opportunity for them to figure some things out in the preseason, find out which 5 offensive linemen give them the best opportunity to win, put those guys on the field. We'll see if they're able to do that in 2016. Let's keep going and see if there are any more comments that are looking to be read in the discussion box. And I don't see any more. I told a story. Here's another one. The Rams, and this is from Anwar Muhammad. The Rams' skill position needs work. Kenny Britt and Tavon Austin not going to cut it. Tavon has been a disappointment to this point, and Britt hasn't done anything since that 1 year in Tennessee. Now, let's address this. The wide receiver position and the skill position in general in Los Angeles now. Kenny Britt is not a number 1 wide receiver. I've been telling Rams fans this for the last 2 years. He's a number 2 receiver, and if you put him in his proper slot, I think Kenny Britt can come alive in Los Angeles. He's just not a number 1. He's not good enough to go up against number 1 corners consistently and win that matchup. And because of that, you put him on some number 2s in this league, and he'll be able to thrive, I think, in that situation. But not as a number 1, not as a guy that you're asking to beat the other team's best corner consistently. I don't think that's who Kenny Britt is as a receiver anymore. Tavon Austin, to me, I don't want to say he's a disappointment necessarily, because I think he was overdrafted, and the fact that the Rams traded up to get him put a lot more emphasis on what they were looking for from him. But make no mistake about it, he was a gadgety guy at West Virginia. Yeah, he caught more balls at receiver at West Virginia than he has in the National Football League as a true threat as a receiver. He's more of a hitch, wide receiver screen, jet sweep, double reverse kind of guy. They're just looking to get the football, draggers underneath, where they run some pick plays and try to get the football in his hands, get him out in space where he is electrifying. I still think he's been very dynamic for them, and I thought it took them about 2 or 3 years to figure out how to actually use him and exploit his gifts in this league. But when they did figure it out, they started using him in ways that allowed him to really get out in space and be able to be a dynamic playmaker for them. And so I'm not disappointed in him, because if you were expecting this guy to be an 80-plus catch a season guy, then you were wrong. And I don't know what the Rams were looking for when they traded up with Buffalo to get him, but this is who Tavon Austin is. This is who he always was going to be. So I don't say he's a disappointment. He's not a real receiver, though. And so that's my problem. And I'm looking for Mike Thomas out of Southern Miss to step up. I was not a huge fan of the South Carolina receiver that they got. He's okay to me. He's just another guy. And if they're going to address the receiver position in Los Angeles, they got to do it with a first-round pick. And guess what? They don't have a first-round pick next year. They gave that away to get Jared Goff in 2016. So I don't know when they're going to really be able to address the receiver position in the way they need to. Maybe they end up with a top 10 pick next year, and in the second round, like there was in this past year's draft, there was still some value at receiver in the second round. Sterling Shepard was around. I think the Saints ended up getting their hands on Michael Thomas. There was still some depth and some quality receivers that you could get your hands on in the 2016 draft. Maybe they get lucky and that same kind of depth is at receiver and they're able to get their hands on a receiver in the second round that can come in and be a viable candidate to be a number one, because right now I feel like they're lacking at the wide receiver position. They do not have enough impact players at the skill positions. Todd Gurley and Tavon Austin are essentially it. Now, I think their tight end position has a chance to be a problem for teams in that division and around the league. If Tyler Higbee develops into what I think he could ultimately be, which is a Travis Kelce type in this league, and if Tamarick Hemingway turns out to be a stud, and I think he could be a guy that could be dangerous down the road, they could actually have some guys that offset the inferior wide receiver position with some playmakers at tight end. And they still got Lance Kendricks as well there. So we'll see. We'll see. But yes, receiver to me is disappointing in Los Angeles right now. See if anybody else had anything else to say. Everyday Flash says, I'm going to laugh my ass off when a player or coach you talk shit about calls you heated. I would love it. You know, I would love to talk to any one of those guys. Because I don't really talk trash about a lot of dudes, to be honest with you. My thing is, I told you, I'm never going to really advocate for a coach to get fired. I think sometimes it's time for a guy to move on, you know. And in the case of the Rams, how many times can you go? I mean, I don't like watching the same movie over and over again, man. That's why I got rid of Blockbuster. I said, hey, man, I'm not going to be kind and rewind and watch the same movie over again, man. So I had to get rid of those guys. And sometimes you just got to do that. And so, same thing with Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati. How many times do you need to still watch that movie of going to the playoffs and getting bounced in the first round? That movie gets old when you already know how the movie ends before you watch it. That's an old movie. I don't want to watch that anymore. And so sometimes you feel like, I'm not advocating for the dude to get fired, but maybe it's time for you to move on. Maybe it's time for you to entertain that thought of maybe moving on to the next guy. And that's how I feel about some of these coaches. And Jeff Fisher, maybe one of those dudes I feel like that about. But maybe 2016 is the year that everything comes together for him and that football team. And he's able to show why the Rams organization has shown this much faith in him and kept him around this long despite the mediocre success in Los Angeles and St. Louis. Got another call, going to take it. You are on live with Louie Tee Live. Who am I speaking with?
What's up, Louis? How are you?
What's going on, man?
Not much. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing blessed. I appreciate you for asking. Talk to me about this division. You're out in Cali. Are you a 49ers fan?
No, I'm actually, I live in Los Angeles, and we finally got a team now, so I actually am going to jump on the Rams fan.
Okay, awesome. Good to hear from you. So talk to me about this division. Tell me who you think is going to win this division and why.
So I actually have Seattle winning this division.
Okay.
I still think Seattle has probably one of the best defenses in the league. I'd say number 2 or 3.
Yep. If I'm not mistaken, too, last year, at the very end in Week 17, I think they ended up with the number 1 scoring defense in the league, if I'm not mistaken. So I think Seattle is still right up there among the best in the league in defense. Continue on. Sorry about that.
No problem. So Russell Wilson's a really good quarterback. He's actually my favorite quarterback in the league. So there's that. They have 3 running backs, so they're going to definitely run the ball this season.
Which is odd, because I thought that I saw the makings of what this team was going to become, and that was more not necessarily pass-oriented as much as, hey, if Russ got to throw it, 37 times a day, we're fine with that, versus the old approach with Marshawn Lynch there of, hey, Russ, anywhere from 22 to 28 passing attempts, fine by us, keep it low and keep it steady. I thought that they matured last year into a team that if Russ needed to throw it 35 times, they were cool with that. But I talked to a caller earlier that's a Seahawks fan, and he says he thinks they're going to go back to that ground and pound mentality and take some of that pressure off of Russell Wilson. So we'll see. And you say the same thing. You think they're going to kind of pound the ball with that three-headed monster backfield that they may have with Christine Michael, who looked good in the first preseason game, Thomas Rawls, and the rookie that I'm absolutely in love with, obviously because he came from Notre Dame, a guy that I'm really high on, and his name escapes me right now, but I think they've got
CJ Prosize.
Yeah, CJ Prosize. There you go. So they got all the makings of a backfield that could be very dynamic in 2016. So you have the Seahawks winning this division at what record?
Can you repeat that for a second?
You have the Seahawks winning this division. What's the record they're going to win this division at?
12-4.
12-4. Okay, which is the same record I have them winning or have them getting this season. Who do you have coming in second? I don't want to make any assumptions for you.
I got Arizona.
Okay. And what's the record for the Cardinals?
11-5. They're just a little lost in Seattle.
Okay. So they won. They're one game behind Seattle. Who comes in third in this division?
Then I got the Rams.
Okay. And what's the
One of the
record?
things about the Rams is their defense is actually developing a lot into a Seattle-type defense, but they need to win some of that secondary big time.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how the secondary does this year. No Janoris Jenkins, and to see if the next guy steps up, whomever that is. I mean, they've got depth at the cornerback position. I just want to see who they like enough to put across from him in the upcoming season, and it'll be interesting. And they lost their safety in free agency to the Eagles, so I want to see who's going to fill that void for them as well. So it'll be interesting to see how things shake out for the Rams. First year in LA, expectations are different. Got a franchise quarterback, but he's not ready. We'll see how they play things. What do you have the Rams finishing in 2016?
I've got them going 8-8.
Okay.
To fix their receiver problem, I think they need to get a red zone guy. They need that 6'4" dude they can just tuck it up to.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, logic would tell you that that's Kenny Britt. The guy's already on the roster. Standing 6'4", he should be that guy, but he just hasn't been that guy for them, and he's been inconsistent. So you got him going 8-8. Is that good enough to keep Jeff Fisher employed by the Los Angeles Rams?
I honestly thought he should have been fired last year, to be honest.
Yeah. I thought that because of the move, they didn't want to shake things up. Generally, when you see, and we don't have a lot of evidence to support this, but we do have a couple of situations where teams were making, whether it's ownership changes or they were moving from location to location. You kind of want to keep the continuity inside the building because everything else around you is changing. So I understand why they didn't can him this year. But that being said, I thought he could have been fired, 2 years previous and even the year before that, or last year, I should say. So I think that if they don't show vast improvement in 2016, and I'm thinking, I don't even know if 8-8 is good enough. Even though I said 8-8 with an asterisk might be good enough, I think 9-7 might be what he has to actually get to keep his job. But I've said that before with coaches, and they've kept their job, so we will see. So before I let you run, I need you to tell me what the 49ers are going to do in this division, and then I need you to rank the defenses in this division.
Okay, so I got the 49ers going 3-3 and just winning the games in the division.
Okay.
3 games in the division.
So they go 3-13, and
Yeah.
rank the defenses in this division.
So, I don't know, I'll go 1A Seattle, 1B Arizona. They're just so good. Both those defenses are really good.
It's so tough in this division. I think this is a really good question because I could ask 10 people and get 10 different orders. You know what I mean? Like, this division is so tough to really break down defensively because all of the defenses are so good, especially when you get them at home. Yikes. And they can travel. I mean, when you got a good defense, you can take it anywhere and have it show up on any given Sunday. So you got 1A, 1B with the Cardinals and the Seahawks. I'm assuming the Rams are number 2.
Yep, all because of that D-line.
D-line, yeah. They just wreak havoc, man. And I want to see what they're going to do at linebacker this year. They made some wholesale changes in the offseason, got rid of some veterans, got rid of Chris Long, got rid of James Laurinaitis. So I want to see all these new guys that they're trying to infuse this defense with and see how that goes as well. So, hey, man, appreciate the call. You got something else to say?
I'm trying to save up money to go to a game.
Say that again?
Yeah, I'm trying to save up money to go to one of the Ram games. It's actually going to be my first NFL game, so.
Oh, that'll be awesome, man. And it'll probably be a different experience being that it's in LA now. So I think the crowd is really going to be, despite how bad they may be at certain points of the season, they're going to be really engaged in year one. And then, that luster will wear off eventually. But there's excitement there, definitely. So hopefully you get out there for a game this year and kind of get to take it all in year one of the Los Angeles Rams, man. I appreciate you calling in. Have a good one and take care and continue to call in and chime in on the show, man. Appreciate you.
Cool. Thanks, Louis.
So, I got a really good comment here from Anwar Muhammad that I want to get to in a second. Let me get to Twitter real quick and knock out a couple of tweets before I go back to the discussion board. At Grazy227 says, Chandler Jones should really help the Cards win the division. Also, their receivers are a lot better than Seattle's. Their receiving core in Arizona is a lot better than most teams in the league. They have a top-tier wide receiving core. If we were to rank them, I think a lot of people would have the Arizona Cardinals wide receiving core in the top 7. I might even say most people would have them in the top 5. They're that good. They have a great mixture and balance of guys with power that can, catch the football in traffic, can get deep. They got a lot of speed to burn. Got a call, gonna take it. We can get back to that after this call. You're on live with Louie Tee Live. Who am I speaking with?
This is Smoke.
What's going on, Smoke?
Challenge just got off work. Had to come hop in the live stream.
Hey, man, I appreciate you. Turn your phone up a little bit.
Hold on, let me take my headphones out.
All right.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, you good? Hey, glad you could join us, man. So talk to me about...
It's always good to be a part of the live stream.
Always, man. Always a pleasure to have you on and having you bless the live stream. Talk to me about this division. NFC West, okay? Probably the best defensive division in all of football. Talk to me about this division and how you think it's going to shake out and why.
Okay, so you want me to break down like who I think wins the division?
Who's going to win the division? I know you don't do records, so I want you to tell me who's going to win this division. Tell me why they're going to win the division, and then I'm going to get to some of my other questions that I have for you.
Okay. Okay, so first place, honestly, I think first place can go either way. Mm-hmm. But I would probably lean more to Seattle.
Okay. Is there a reason why you pick Seattle over Arizona in particular?
I think that they're probably more complete.
Really?
Overall.
You think they're more complete? Yeah. How so?
Well, because first of all, I'd rather have Russell Wilson over Carson Palmer any day.
Okay.
And I think that their backfield can actually, I think that they can, even though Marshawn Lynch isn't there, Thomas Rawls showed some good things. And I really, really love CJ Prosise coming out.
Yeah, me too. I was talking about him.
I think he can be really, really good in Seattle. I mean, granted, they do need to beef up their O-line. They really do.
Right.
But I still think that, because Seattle, Russell Wilson is a franchise quarterback, but I think offensively it comes down to one person, and that's Jimmy Graham.
You think he makes that big a difference?
Yeah, it's Jimmy Graham.
Well, but you got to remember, Jimmy Graham struggled last year. There were big games where he would go out 7 catches and 2 touchdowns, and then there were games where he would be non-existent. You didn't even know if he was playing in the game.
Yeah.
So
but I was saying, like, if Jimmy Graham can, I say he's the X factor, and he's the difference, and it's on him because of what we know he can be. That's why I say he's.
All right. Yeah, and I'm not doubting that. If Jimmy Graham's healthy and he just came back to camp, I want to say 2 days ago was his first practice, took him off the PUP list. If he comes back, he's healthy, and he's the Jimmy Graham of old. Okay, and I'm talking in New Orleans Jimmy Graham that was catching 12 touchdowns a season and was a red zone menace. They're going to be a team to be reckoned with, definitely. But
I think last year that they let Russell Wilson, they sort of like let him have the reins of the offense more. Mm-hmm. So I think probably with another year under his belt, and potentially if Jimmy Graham comes back and he's even a little bit better than what he was last year. And then you throw in that running game that they have, and of course Russell Wilson with his input is the way he improvises.
Right.
I think the offense do some things next year. And defensively, we all know about their defense.
Right.
Like,
That goes without saying. Yeah.
yeah, but I honestly would not be surprised if the Cardinals took the division. I would not be surprised.
Right. I mean, you said that it's a toss-up between the two teams, and I think most people would argue that it's a toss-up between the two. I got both of them going 12-4, and I got the Cardinals winning the division by a tiebreaker because they beat the Patriots in Week 1, and they didn't have to play Brady, and they got the game at home. And the Seahawks are going to have to play Brady, and they're going to have to play him at Foxborough, where the Patriots hardly ever lose. So that's the difference between the two teams and why the Cardinals at 12-4 win the division versus the Seahawks at 12-4 winning the division. So I think it's a toss-up, just like you said. The ball could bounce either way, and, you know, the other team could win the division. But, okay, so you got 1A, 1B essentially with Arizona and Seattle. How do you see the Rams shaping up this year?
I honestly think that they're probably going to be middle of the road.
Okay. Like always, basically.
Yeah, and plus it's Jeff Fisher. Come on.
Yeah.
Like 1,000 times.
Is he done this year, Smoke? Is he done this year?
Honestly, okay, if it was me calling the shots, I would say he's done, but I'm not calling the shots, so I honestly think that it's up in the air.
Okay. And I think that's the case as well. This season will have a lot to say about whether he's around this time next year.
Yeah, I think it's truly a toss-up.
Okay. 49ers, what's your take on them in 2016?
They're pulling up the rear.
Yeah. Obviously. Okay. Okay, question for you.
Yeah.
Are they top 5 pick bad? Because I know you don't do records. Are they top 5 pick bad, or are they top 10 pick bad? Not top 5, but they're still in the top 10. Or are they on the outskirts of the top 10?
Honestly, I honestly could see them being top 5 pick bad.
Man, me really too, Smoke. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I was going to say something else, but I'm going to save that for the AFC North.
Okay, and that's tomorrow. So hopefully I get you to chime in on that tomorrow. All right, so now that you've done that, give me the defenses in this division in order.
It's a toss-up between Arizona and Seattle again.
Hey, look, I let you get away with it earlier. I can't let you be on the fence on this one, man.
All right.
You got to give me one.
All right. I think... Dang.
I love it.
These two teams are, like, so close. Let me see. I think I'm going to have to go any, mini, money, more on this one.
All right, so which one did you land on, man? You got to give me one. I'm not letting you off the hook on this
right now. Let me do it. All right, any, mini, money, more. Get a second by something. I'll let it go. Any, mini, money, more.
You really did that? I didn't think you were actually going to do it.
I swear to God, I got it right here. I got an S for Seattle, and I got an A for Arizona right here on a piece of paper.
Unreal. The first time in Louie Tee live history that we had an any, meeny, miny, mo determine who was going to be better at something. That's a first on the program.
I landed on Arizona.
All right, so Arizona's the number 1 defense in your mind, and you had a great method of figuring out that they were number 1. All right, so Seattle by default goes to number 2. I'm assuming
yes, sir.
Los Angeles is in 3rd?
Yeah, and of course Rams pulling up the rear.
Okay, sounds good to me.
I want to say something about the Rams. I think that the loss of Janoris Jenkins might impact them.
You know what? I'm not a huge Janoris Jenkins fan. And even though I knew he was good for them, I think they might be able to replace him and they'll be just fine. My question is, and I know Chris Long was always hurt, and I know James Laurinaitis wasn't as impactful as he used to be, but he never missed any games. How are they going to replace those guys? That's what I want to see with them.
That's what they got to figure out.
And that'll be key for me. I think the bigger loss in that secondary is the safety that they let get away that's now in Philadelphia. That, to me, is a much bigger loss than Janoris Jenkins, if you ask me. How do they replace him? Because he was playing, McLeod was playing some good ball for them. So now I want to see how they replace him in that secondary versus Janoris Jenkins, who I think they might actually have enough depth to replace in that secondary. Hey, Smoke, man, it's always a pleasure to have you bless the program, man. Appreciate all you do
it's always a
and all the
pleasure,
support you
man.
give me, man. Please continue to do that, and I can't wait to hear from you next time, man. Take care of yourself.
All right, you too, Lou. Appreciate you. Thank you for putting me on the live stream. Thanks for all the great content, man. Keep up the great work.
Hey, man, will do, man. Appreciate you.
No problem, man. Take it easy.
All right.
All right.
All right. So we were in the discussion of receivers in Arizona, and I think the Cardinals, they have a great mixture of receivers. Talked about the power, the guys that can go over the middle like a Larry Fitzgerald, even a Michael Floyd, who are big physical receivers, catch it in traffic. Then you got the speedsters, the John Browns of the world, and I can't think of his name, but they drafted him last season. Guy out of UAB. Guy is a flat-out burner. Okay, instantly the fastest guy on their team, and he impact last year with his speed as well. Speed. Then you got a combination of the two with Jaron Brown. They have a well-rounded group in Arizona. You'd be hard-pressed to find a wide receiving core that is deeper than the Arizona Cardinals. They can go 1 to 5 and get you any way you want it. I think they have a really interesting group at wide receiver. Got another call, going to go ahead and take it. You're on live with Louie Tee Live. Who am I speaking with?
It's your boy, Nick. What's good?
What's going on, Nick at night, everybody? Showtime!
Yeah, before we even start, I'm when the NFC North start, my boy about to do some bubblegum rather than
Hey, Smoke was tripping on that one, man. That man went itty bitty mighty mo on me, man. I didn't see that. Like when he said it, I was like, okay, yeah, just pick one, Smoke. He was like, no, itty bitty mighty. He started actually doing it. Like, really? We doing that? Hey,
I was dying.
I know you were. All right, Nick, talk to me about this NFC West. Who you see winning this division, and how do you see the wins shaking out amongst the teams in this division?
I got the Cardinals winning. They probably gonna be like 12-4.
Okay.
I feel like they just gonna win. To me, they're the most like complete team in the division.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I agree with that. And Smoke said the opposite. He thought Seattle was the most complete team.
Yeah, he was tripping a little bit.
Now I get where he's coming from. I don't think they're complete though. I don't think they're more complete than Arizona. But I do like Russell Wilson more than I like Carson Palmer. And that was.
I feel like on the defensive side of the ball, they kind of close to him. But me, it's more so if the Cardinals stay healthy. Like if Tyrann Mathieu stay healthy. Like Buchanan's no joke either. Buchanan's for real. That's he's a thumper. He'll lay you out real quick.
Yeah. I just like everything that they bring to the table. That being the Cardinals. You were about to say Patrick Peterson. What?
I think he's the best corner in the league to me.
I agree.
Yeah, and then the adding that just beats up the D-line. Their D-line.
And then you got the big question mark, Robert Kimdiche, man, wild card.
I was about to say something about him right after. He's gonna be nice.
If he comes in and is able, and if they're able, and I think Arizona's the perfect place for him because I think they can get the most out of him. He comes in.
If you look at it, like Tyrann Mathieu came with baggage too, and they cleaned him up real quick.
Right. So yeah, I just feel like there's a lot here to really dive into with the Cardinals. I think they're a really good team.
See, my only problem with them is like once they get to the playoffs, they can't get over that hump of winning that first game. Like Carson Palmer ended up doing something, and he gone messed up. Like I don't know. It's hard to like. I could trust for them to win a division, but it could be obviously if you go to Seahawks too, it'll be flip flopping back and forth. I think. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Just like once they get to the playoffs, Carson Palmer always gonna do something stupid.
Yeah, I hope that they're able to kind of get everything in a situation where they're able to stay healthy at the end of the season, because it was unfortunate to see how everything shook out last year, and the injuries that took place, Tyrann Mathieu, and then of course Carson Palmer and his finger, and how that really affected them. I hope that they're able to be healthy down the stretch, because like you said, they got health. They're one of the most dangerous teams, and to me, well-rounded and balanced teams in the entire National Football League. So you got Arizona at 12-4 winning this division. Seattle is coming in second or not?
Yeah, Yeah, I got Seattle in second. I say they go 10-6.
10-6. All right.
Yeah.
What about the Los Angeles Rams?
I say 7-9, 8-8 at best. Jeff Fisher is gonna lose his job.
Jeff Fisher is done in your mind if they do not get to 9 wins.
And another statement I'm gonna make. To be honest about receiving core.
Yep.
I'll be surprised if any of them have over 800 yards.
And where?
In LA. I don't think any of them are gonna have 800.
Oh, yeah. You're probably right on that. I can't think of one guy that and again, some of that is on the quarterback position, you know, but I probably would agree with you there. I don't know if any one of their receivers is good enough to get you 800 plus.
Honestly, I don't even know if their quarterback is gonna go for like 3,000. I don't even see that, to be honest with you.
Not one of those guys, but of course combined, they're gonna. Yeah. But no. I don't think either one of those guys. I think Goff could potentially do that, but I think because he's not gonna get a chance to play enough games, I don't think he's gonna be able to get to it.
His best receiver to me is Austin, but to me, I thought Austin was overhyped way too much coming out of college. To me, he's a speedy guy. Like he's more of a guy that you just gotta get the ball in his hands. But to get the ball in his hands, he only runs a selected through a route. He can run like a bubble screen. He can run like a slant, and that's about it. He don't run much more than that.
Right. Yeah.
The best way to get him the ball, honestly, is the screen and a wide receiver reverse.
Hitches, jet sweeps. Yep. They do all of that stuff with him, and they do it well. But like you said, he's not a real option at receiver, and that's what they're currently lacking in Los Angeles.
And honestly, defenses are already going to load the box. They know Gurley's going to get the ball, but that ain't even going to work too good for you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The Adrian Peterson theory is out there. Hey, load the box up. If I pop it, I'm gone.
I hear you, but
I know what you're saying though. So I know what you're saying, Nick. All right, so you and 49ers quickly. Tell me what the 49ers are this year.
Honestly, I say 3-13.
Yeah, man, it's not looking good for the Niners.
They're beyond garbage. I don't even know what you want to call that.
I ain't gonna kill them because I think defensively they're gonna be in some ball games and get themselves a chance, but it's not looking good for those guys. All right, so tell me the order of the defenses in this division.
I'm gonna go Arizona 1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go Seahawks 2.
Mm-hmm.
Rams 3, and then the 49ers.
Okay. Sounds good, man. Hey, Nick, always a pleasure, man. Appreciate all the love. Appreciate all the retweets. Appreciate all that you do for the channel, man, and the movement. And I appreciate you always chiming in and giving your input on these live feeds, man. Hey, it's a pleasure always, man.
You too, bro. Thank you.
Hey, no doubt, man. Nick and Night, everybody. Showtime. All right, man. Take it easy. All right. So we had the receiver discussion. I got more heat on Twitter that I want to get to. At GrayZ227. Wait a minute. Did I skip one?
Frank. My name's Frank.
All right, Frank. Talk to me. Who's going to win this division?
Toss-up between the Cardinals and Seahawks. I think they're super close. I think the Seahawks have a better defense than the Cardinals. Cardinals have a better offense. Especially the Seahawks are really good. Cardinals struggle with coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And they lack returners too. So I think the Seahawks get the edge. And
Okay. So you look at this division and you think that you said the Seahawks are going to win this division?
Yeah, Seahawks.
Okay.
Probably by one game.
Okay. And you think they're going to win at what record?
So 12-4.
All right. So you probably
Seahawks win. I think they've been the number one scoring defense for 4 years.
Yeah.
So they have a longer record of doing it. Cardinals too. I think their linebackers are. I'm a Cardinals fan. I think their linebackers are Buchanan and Milner. I think both of them are below average, honestly, and they're a big weakness. I think they put in Buchanan for coverage, but I don't know about that. And he gets washed up in the run game sometimes.
Yeah, he's a small guy. You know, if he can read and react, he's dangerous. But if those linemen get to him, usually, you know, he's gonna get swallowed up.
I know they put him in for coverage, but he's kind of average in that too. So he bulked up a little this year. Let's see how that goes.
Okay.
And then obviously Brandon Williams and Justin Bethel aren't like inspiring anybody there with their play.
Yeah, that to me is the key. Watch with the Cardinals this year is how do the corners opposite of Pat P play? You know, Brandon Williams is a rookie. I wasn't impressed with Justin Bethel last year, so I think that's going to be something to keep an eye on. And then you also, how kind of play do you get out of the defensive line? Robert Kimdiche coming in, Chandler Jones coming in. Does Golden take a step, forward? A lot of questions there, but I think they're so good. They're so balanced. They're so well-rounded. Even if they don't get the production out of some of these guys that they expect, they're still going to be able to do some things and get through whatever it is they're struggling with because they're such a good football team.
Yeah, the D-line is really good, especially at stopping the run. I think that's helped Buchanan look a little better than he actually is because they're so good at stopping the run by themselves.
Right. Okay, so rank these defenses for me.
What was that?
Rank the defenses one more time before I let you go. Because I know you just did it.
Seahawks, Cardinals, Rams, Niners.
Okay.
I think the Rams will take a little bit of
a step back defensively?
Step back without McLeod and Jenkins. And honestly, they were like average kind of last year. Like, they finished like 12th or 13th in scoring defense. That's closer to average than really good.
Yeah. And some of that had to do with the lack of offensive firepower, too. Yeah, you put them on the field enough, and they're going to give up some plays and going to be a little tired. So I still think they're a really good defense. But I think a lot of people keep talking about Janoris Jenkins. I think McLeod, they may miss more so than Janoris Jenkins. But, hey, man, appreciate the call. Thank you for chiming in. And I look forward to talking to you again in the future, man. Take care.
Yep, no problem.
All right, so I'm having all kinds of technical difficulties right now, and I got to get in the lab and figure out what the hell is going on. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a night on this AFC West live feed. Again, tomorrow we'll be breaking down the AFC North, and I'll have everything squared away for you tomorrow. All these kinks worked out. I don't know what the hell is going on, man. I'm going to have to get with Cox and get these jokers on the phone and figure out what the hell is going on, man, because everything is new over here. So I know it's not my stuff. It's got to be my my modem. That's the only thing that's old. So, we're going to get this problem situated. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to be live on the program with you tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. sharp, breaking down the AFC North. That's another tough division there, man, with a lot of heavy hitters. We'll come back, talk AFC North football tomorrow. Until then, I'm your man, Louie Tee, signing off. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.